Welcome to my YouTube tutorial on how to draw hands. I'm going to start this tutorial on drawing hands with your palm facing your face. We're going to start out with a strategy known as blocking out, and then from there we're going to add some basic shapes. So let's get into that. So blocking out basically refers to, it's exactly what it sounds like, is using block-like figures or shapes to make a very rough sketch of whatever you're trying to draw. So in this case, we're drawing a hand. So when you're going to block out the hand from this position, you're going to draw a shape that looks like this. And then maybe erase that line up there. And I'll explain why I erased that in 1 second. So that's going to be our basic shape that we're going to start with. And it kind of looks like a house, except that the point is off-centered. It's more to the left, and I think it could be even more to the left, honestly. So let's fix that. That's what sketching is all about. All right, so here we are. And the reason why we have that shape that looks like that is because that's going to really designate where our middle finger is going to be, because our middle finger is taller than all your other fingers, as you probably already know. If you don't know, well, now you know, so keep that in mind. So from there, we're going to draw the same shape next to this shape. You don't have to, but I'm going to do it for instruction purposes. And I'm going to add in some of those smaller details. So let's say the wrist is down here, just so we know where we are. All right, so that one's kind of long. It's okay. Everybody's hands look different anyway. So if you look at your own hands, here we are. This is mine. You have the pad of your thumb, and then you have what I kind of like to think of it as a mitten. You have like your top of your palm, and then whatever this is over here. So we're going to draw all of that. We're going to start with the pad of the thumb to make things easier. So for now, we'll draw it as a box, just to keep things simple. It's really just 2 lines. I know I just drew it with 45 lines, but it's really just 2. By 45, I mean, because I just kept going back and forth like that. So anyway, now if you wanted to make this look more natural, what you can do is really just round off those lines there. And you'll start to get a more natural looking shape, including this one. Really draw that one in there. And then you could erase some of that box if you'd like to. And you'll start to get a hand that looks more like a hand. So now we're going to add our appendages. So I forgot to mention earlier, because like when you're looking at that, so when you're looking at your own hand, you get like that box shape here. Honestly, let's do this to really make things a little bit easier. Let's get the markers involved. All right, that's our box. There it is. But I forgot to draw this important section here, which is your thumb knuckle. You know, you gotta have that, or else how you gonna move? How you gonna do that? How you gonna do that? So let's put that in there real quick. So basically, you're just gonna add. It's basically a triangle. Like there's really no other way around it. It's what it is. Yeah, it's a triangle. Now we have somewhere to start your thumb. So if you want to start at the thumb, you can. I like to start at the middle finger because it's the easiest one, because it's in the middle, even though it's more to the left. It's not really in the middle, which is why that's here and not here. So each segment of your hand has 1, 2, 3 segments. I don't think that was a good sentence, but you know what I mean. So we got 1, 2, 3. And since that's your middle finger, those segments are all going to be longer than the others. So if I was to draw my index finger, those are going to be slightly shorter. And then the pinky will be even smaller. But also, the pinky is lower on your hand. I think is rough. And then we already have most of the thumb there. We have the knuckle, so now we just got to draw the two appendages. So we have one, and then the fingertip too. If you want to draw a thumbnail on there, you can. And that's kind of the basic shape for a hand right there. Not super impressive looking right now, but if I was to really clean that up, you know, let's do it. I don't know if there's any safe in this finger here. We could try. There we go. Now it's coming together. There we go. We got a decent looking hand right there, minus this finger right here. All right, let's move on to the next part of the video. So in the next part of the video, what I'd like to talk about is drawing the hand with the palm facing away. So you're basically just drawing a fist. All right, so let's block out the fist, or the palm facing away. So it's going to be actually the opposite. Like it's basically rotating that first shape that you've drawn. So like up here we drew that house looking thing, and the peak is over here to the left. Now it's over to the right, because now where your middle finger's here, now it's over here, and that's it. It's science. I don't know how to explain that. So there it is. So basically, we're gonna have to draw on these knuckles here. You got 4 of them. I know there's 5, but you got 4 on the top of your hand, and you got your thumb knuckle over there that you add in after, like I said before. And from there, it's pretty like straight up, like standard protocol there, you know, like you do the exact same thing that you did on your other hand, where you just start drawing in your appendages there, your fingers, and then before you know it, you got a whole hand. And there he is. He's ready to go pick stuff up. And if you really want to, you could clean this one up too, so let's do it. There's really no special shape that goes on the back of the palm here. Like if you want to, you could add in these lines that really just like tell you where your like skeleton goes. Unless those are nerves. Those aren't nerves, I mean tendons. That's what I meant. Oh boy. Unless those are tendons, which is they probably are. It actually makes way more sense now that I think about it. Those are definitely tendons. Look at that, we're learning. And there you go. You got a pretty decent looking hand. Again, now he's got 2 hands. He could clap. You got 2 left hands. Let's move on to the next part of the video. So for the third segment of this video, I want to talk about drawing fists. Now this is where the video is going to get pretty difficult, because you got to learn a new shape here, and it's not an easy one either. So let's get into that. Now we're talking about drawing fists, and we're now in murky waters, because fists are pretty difficult to draw, especially when they're coming at you. It's the last thing you want to see, whether it's on a piece of paper or in real life. So let's get into it. When you're drawing a fist, you don't want that house shape that I started with earlier. We want what kind of looks like an open book. So let's draw that right here. Looks like an open book, but the top of the book is going to be longer than the bottom of the book. I actually made the bottom there too long. So there we go. That's their starting shape that we want. And basically, that's because when there it is. It's coming at you. When you got that shape right there, we got the top of the book and the bottom of the book. And I cannot draw on there with marker without making this more confusing because there's too many fine details in my hands. But hopefully you get the idea. So I'm going to draw it again next to there. That way we could use that as a reference. I definitely did not leave myself enough space to draw a thumb on here. But we'll figure that out. Alright, I figured it out. So here we go. We got 4 knuckles up here, right? You got 1, 2, that one's higher, it's your middle finger, 3, 4. Alright, so draw those on there. And then you're going to want to draw 4 more, because that's the front right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But what we're going to do here is erase that knuckle, draw it a little bit wider out there, because what happens is when you have a fist, it's really hard to see this on camera, the top of the fist is going to be wider than the middle. So like your top knuckles will be wider than the middle knuckles, because like when you close your hand, it just kind of contracts, especially if you're holding a tight fist. So we're going to draw these slightly closer together. So like if I always like to measure these, like you got like this line here, and then you got like this line here, you can see that that one is like obviously wider than that one. All right, we really just drove that point home. So let's get on with this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the tops of these knuckles here. They don't got to be perfect, but there we go. It's starting to look more natural already. So now let's draw some lines that connect this knuckle to this knuckle, top to middle. You can't even see the bottom knuckles. They're in there, but and you could draw them in there if you want to. But because of like foreshortening, they're gonna be small. So you don't draw the big circles. You might want to use dots. And again, you're gonna put those even closer together than those knuckles. Let me explain what foreshortening is. Basically, foreshortening is this. It's when something's coming at you. And that's foreshortening. So now we're going to draw these lines here to really express where these knuckles are. Where your fingers are, I should say. Alright. And then you really just cut that excess off because we no longer need it. That was the box. That was just to keep us in check. We're in check. Alright, so now, what about the thumb? What are we going to do? Where's the thumb going to go? I'll tell you where it's going to go. It's going to go right over here somewhere. So when you make a fist, you got your thumb, or the knuckle here. That's your second knuckle. You got one knuckle here and one knuckle here. So that's how we're going to define that. That's your second knuckle. 1, 2. It is going to be near the first finger knuckle. So it's going to be around here somewhere. So here we go. We'll draw a circle where that's going to be. And then how far away is your other knuckle going to be? It's going to be about, let's say like if we were to draw a triangle like that, you know, it would be like over there. Hopefully that helps. If it doesn't, I don't know how else to explain that. But basically 1, 2, right? So now what you can do is look at your own hand if you want to. I just did. Really draw that, define that knuckle over there. And then you're going to draw your thumb, finger, just like we did all our other fingers, like that. It's in there now. And then we are now missing a fingertip. He's got no fingertip on his thumb. He can't make a pretty tight fist because he's got no fingertip. So let's help this guy out. Let's give him a fingertip. So your fingertip is going to land on your second finger right here. So let's draw that in there real quick. There he is. He is now a weapon. We just made this guy into a human weapon. And there you go. We got a pretty good looking fist. But Julian, there's still some stuff missing in here. What's all this blank space? What goes in there? How do we draw the fingertip? So let's do that. Let's do that right now. When you curl your hand, you can see that you have your wrinkles that just kind of go like that, natural, kind of the same shape that all your fingers go. So add a couple lines in there, you know. And if you want to, you could add the fingertip right there. And that's it. That's a fist. Pretty, it's not super impressive, is it? No, but again, that's because of the foreshortening. But if you really want to, this is kind of just like building blocks of like, to get you started. Like, obviously that's not a perfect hand, and that's not a perfect hand, but it's pretty damn close. But here it's like, how can I fix this? What things that I can do to improve my fist? So like, again, these probably aren't arched enough, so if we were to arch these down a little bit further, it would probably make it a little more believable. Maybe if we were to move these knuckles in, it would make it a little more believable, make it look like a tighter fist. Maybe if that thumb wasn't so long, it would make it look like a tighter fist. You know, we're starting to get there. But anyway, that's how you draw the fist. You want to start off with that shape, that windshield open book looking thing, and then draw your knuckles, fill in your fingers, figure out where your thumb knuckles are. Connect it all together. Draw your thumb tip. You got yourself a fist. So right here we got these two examples that we haven't even looked at yet. It's more fists coming at your face. So basically, the same shape is there, that shape that I mentioned earlier, the open book, if you will. It's right here. It's just now the fist is at a different angle because it's almost head on. But no matter what, if that fist is coming at you, it's not gonna, like, you're always gonna see those bottom parts of your fingers. They're just gonna be smaller. Or in the other example, they were bigger because the fist was kind of coming up. So let's go over some examples real quick of how we could use those basic shapes to draw more fists. Jumping back to this page, we have these pictures over here on the right where we have that same window shape right here. Maybe I should get a different color so we can see what's going on here. We're going to use pink. We got our window shape. There it is. It's making a pretty decent looking fist. Add that thumb knuckle on there. Add the thumb. There it is. It kind of looks like the guy's wearing a boxing glove. Guess what's inside that glove? It's a fist. And now if you wanted to make the fist on the outside of the glove, you could add the fingers in. But where I just drew on with like 3 layers of pen, that's not going to happen. That's why you should use a pencil. Let's do it. Let's do it with a pencil. Think I can't do it? I'm going to do it. Here he is. He's ready to go. His arm's looking a little weird. Here he is. He's throwing a punch at you. Maybe exaggerate these bones a little bit. Maybe add some muscles into his fingers. Add some knuckles into his hands. Get that realism in there. So basically, when we're drawing these, like we are using these basic shapes, and then what we're doing is we're going to erase these boxes ultimately, and you keep working in these minor details until you get your hand where you want it to be. That's a pretty decent spot right there. It's very sketchy looking, but it's a fist. And then as you can see here from these other examples, we got some other fists. And as I was talking about earlier, you're always going to see the bottom of your fingers right there, no matter what. So draw those in. And you can spend as much time as you want on anything. So if you do, it's only going to get better. Because you can see I just drew all those in seconds. If you were to spend like 5 or 10 minutes, you might get something that looks like that. Let's talk about how to get that real quick. I'm going to dedicate this last part of this video and to using this basic shape to draw hands any way that you'd like to do it. So we're going to go back to that first shape, which was the house, the really crooked looking house. Now we're going to combine everything that we just learned. The fist, the house, the window, the book. The window is the book, by the way. I keep referring to it as different things, but I'm talking about this book. So these are our two basic shapes. We got house, book. Alright, so let's draw this house now. It's a crazy funky looking angle. Like that. It's huge. It's taking up like half the piece of paper. That's alright. I'm not afraid. And let's make it 3D. Basically, you're just gonna make it a box. Alright. It's now okay. Alright, we could do better than that. Alright, 3D. So now here we are. Middle finger, like I said, is going to go here. That's the first segment. We could draw this any way we want. It doesn't always have to be straight. We could do the second like this, and we could do the third like this. And then we could do our pointer finger like all crazy, maybe going up backwards like this. The second will go there. And the fingertip will go there. And the third. This guy's like really like the monster grabbing something. Or he just like poked himself in the eye. He's like, ah. I never know what to do with the pinky. I'll just close the pinky, I guess. And then lastly, we got our thumb knuckle here. You always draw your thumb knuckle in. There it is. Got a crazy looking hand right now. He's like, ah. Let's detail this in with the pen. There you go. Got yourself a pretty nifty looking hand. Yeah, it doesn't look right when I do it either, huh? Alright, that concludes the video.